Hey, what's up, stay-at-homies? So, as you saw, I already updated my feelings mandala, and I'm all ready with today's activity. So we're going to do some rhythm with dice, which is kind of cool. I've got a few different ideas for you to try out today. So the first thing that you'll want to do is get yourself a little paper with 1 through 6, just like you would see on a dice. Now I have this big one I'm going to use today. You might have a small one, or if it's hard to find a dice, you could check if you have like any board games in your house, but ask permission first before you just go, because if you take the dice out and then it gets lost, and then say like next week your family wants to play that game and then you can't find the dice. So make sure you have permission, or online, if you search, it's kind of tricky to see, but if you search for virtual dice, I found a website here where all I do is I click and it rolls the dice. Oh, it's loading. There we go. And then you can click roll again, roll again, roll again, as many times as you need to. So that's kind of cool. That's also a really good quiet way to roll the dice, because sometimes when you're rolling dice like on the table or the floor, it can get a little bit noisy. So make sure you're being respectful of the other people in your house also. So go ahead and find a dice of some kind, a paper, and you can get it set up so that you can make your little list with me. All right, so just like yesterday, Gretchen has decided that she needs to be part of what's going on. Hey, come here. You want to come? Or maybe she wants to sing for you. Come say hello to the stay-at-homies. Hello. Ooh-hoo-hoo. Well, this is going to make things a little bit challenging. We're just having a moment here. Well, I'm never going to get anything done now. Okay, sorry about that. I think we're good now. So I'm going to go ahead and choose something that's one beat only, corresponding with each of the 6 sides of my dice. Now I could have some repeats. If I can't think of 6 different things, that would be fine, but I want everything to just be one beat. So for my 1, I'm going to do a quarter note or a taw. For my 2, I'm going to go with a quarter rest. For my 3, I think I'll do a pair of 8th notes, or a TT. You might just want to repeat what you've already come up with. That would be just fine. So what this means is that in our activities today, if I roll a 1 or if I roll a 4, I would get a quarter note or a taw. Or if I roll a 2 or a 5, I would get a quarter rest, and so on. Okay, I'm going to show you how you could do one with notes that are just a little bit more challenging, but still only worth one beat. Okay, so now that we've got our list set up, I've got my 2 different versions ready for us to use in our examples. Now we're going to do a clapping activity first. Okay, so you've got your list. Now you might want another piece of paper, or maybe you could use the back. I'm actually already reusing my paper, so I've got something else going on here, but you can figure out what works for you. I'm going to use my little mini whiteboard here. And I'm going to start with my time signature. I'm going to be in 4/4 time, which means I want groups of 4 beats. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a bar line. So this is just helping me get my music organized. I'm going to do that so we can see my whiteboard. And I'm just going to do those 2 bars. So I've got 8 beats in total, 4 in the first bar, 4 in the second bar. Now, to decide what's going to go in each of these beats, that's where the dice comes in. So for this one, I'm going to use my first list. Got a little bit messy there. Oh well. So to figure out what's going to go in my first beat, I'm going to give the dice a roll. And I rolled a 6. So if I check my list, 6 is a pair of 8th notes, or a TT, so I would draw that in my first space. This is great practice for learning to draw the notes properly as well. So I'm going to go ahead and keep filling in the rest of my beats. I love using dice because you just never know what you're going to get. And look at that. I didn't get any rests at all. That's so crazy. Okay, so now I filled it in. Now I can go ahead and clap it. I just follow along. Ti, ti, ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. And then if I wanted to, I could try it again. I could keep going. I'm going to do another example using this list. All right, so there we go. That's what I got with my other list. So if I wanted to clap this one, it would sound like this. Tick-a-tee, rest. Tick-a-tick-a-ta. Ta. Tee-tee. Tick-a-tick-a-tee-tee. Fun. Now another option for our rhythm dice activities is to do like a little, I'm going to call it rhythm dice bingo. And this is something that you can do with other people, or you can actually play it by yourself. So I'll show you both ways. The first thing you need to do is make yourself a rhythm bingo card. So you'll have to decide how many spaces you want. You could do just a few spaces if you want to play a quick game. You could do a lot of spaces if you want a longer game. I'm going to do just sort of in the middle. I'm going to start off just with some lines. And as I mentioned, you could do less spaces or more spaces, totally up to you. Once you've got your spaces, you're going to randomly fill them in with the notes and rests from your list. So if you use this simpler list, only draw in tas, rests, and TTs. If you used this trickier list, you could use anything from on here. Or if your list looks a little bit different, just make sure that whatever you put on your bingo card matches your list. All right, so now my card is all ready for me to start playing. Now, if I'm playing on my own, there's a couple ways I can do this. I would roll the dice, of course, see what I get. So I rolled a 2. On my list, that's a quarter note. So then I would choose one of my quarter notes. Now, if I had this laying flat on my table, I could cover it up with something like a button, maybe. I could just choose any of them. So maybe if I want to start there, cover that one up. I'm using buttons. You could use any little toys or objects. You could think back to last week when we did our rhythm objects, maybe some of those same kinds of things, maybe some Fruit Loops, as long as you don't eat them like me, whatever you like. The other thing I could do is color it in once I've rolled it. Now, if I'm playing with another person, we would take turns, and you might want to find 2 different colors. So I've got some pink buttons here. Maybe pink would be my color. So whenever I take a turn, I cover mine up with a pink button. And then whenever my opponent, the other person that's playing the game, covers something up, they use the other color. I've got this lovely teal here. And you could try to get a certain number in a row. You could try to block the other person from getting a straight line. You could use some strategy. You could just fill up the whole card and count it up at the end. So that's kind of up to you.
And now, prepare yourselves to witness an epic battle, the likes of which we have never seen. Beethoven! Versus Chuckles! Beethoven says, "Ha-ha! I've got 2 in a row!" Chuckles says, "Yeah, so?" What is that tiny little square you just put on the bingo card? That is my button. It's a square. What are you, the button police?
So that's it for me today. Hope you had fun. Until next time, be brave, be kind, and wash your hands. Bye.